Beat bad beliefs to supersize you. Annual challenge day 134 here. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom. Let's talk about this today. Bad beliefs. What the heck are bad beliefs? I think my beliefs are just my beliefs. And I specifically said bad beliefs today instead of limiting beliefs because I was in a group call yesterday and somebody said, what are limiting beliefs? And so it was a light bulb moment for me in that we all think that when we speak about something, people understand what we're talking about. And it was just a reminder that jargon and terminology and things that we've been exposed to, just because we know what they are and we're familiar with them and we've heard them or dealt with them hundreds of times, I'm put my coffee over here so I don't spill it, doesn't mean everybody else knows. Now, bad beliefs and good beliefs. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it because it's the most powerful example from my own personal experience that I can share. In 2010, just a long time ago now, thankfully, I had a whole lot going on in my life. A whole lot of what most people would consider bad, traumatic, really, really heinous, terrible things. And it wasn't me doing them, it was other people, but it was impacting me in a negative way. I was being sued by the city. One of the neighboring businesses was mad at the business in the upstairs of my building, where my Italian food manufacturing business used to be, and all kinds of stuff. My husband was showing his true colors, which he'd been doing for a long time, but I had blinders on and was ignoring it. So all of these things merged together to the point that I was walking out of the city council meeting. We had just gotten our liquor license back for the business that I was a part of, but a relative of mine, a very bad partner, an ex-relative of mine, was running and causing all this drama and trauma and nonsense that my little red wagon could not handle. My dad used to always say, well, you'll do as much as your little red wagon can handle and then you'll stop. Or I didn't stop, though. It was in a position where I didn't feel like I could stop moving forward and helping and contributing to solving some of these, all these problems that were going on simultaneously. And it wasn't until after I woke up in the emergency room at Regions Hospital over in St. Paul, Minnesota, that I was like, WTF, what happened here? Well, it turns out I had had a sudden cardiac arrest walking through the business in question down to my Italian food business and died. I literally died. Now, this is all people telling me this because I was out, right? I was gone. I didn't remember any of it until after I woke up in the hospital after, I think, 7 to 10 days of being frozen. They run your blood through a freezing, chilling thing, and then got an ICD and things, an internal cardiac device. But that experience definitely changed my life in so many ways, and it changed the direction, the trajectory of my life. It allowed me to make decisions that I knew I should have been making all along, but I was scared to do. You know, we don't ever want to do anything outside our comfort zone. And one of the things I uncovered in my journey after that event, because the first thing I did was like, okay, what do I need to do to figure out what caused this and what I can do, because I know there's things I can do so that it never happens to me again. And on that journey, I had to look at what I was thinking and believing before that event happened and how it could have impacted me. Now, since then, I've learned a ton about manifestation and how we create the things that we create in our life. And I'd been on that journey before this event, but after this event, it all took on far greater meaning than I was just learning about it and curious and trying to survive. So I went from survival mode to death to, okay, I'm back, now what the F do I do? And I figured it out, right? Because that's what we do. We are so resilient as human beings. But I had to admit that the thoughts and beliefs and the things I was thinking up until the point of that sudden cardiac arrest were bad thoughts and bad beliefs. They were all about, it was all too much, it was overwhelming, I couldn't handle it, I didn't know what I was going to do in different situations because it was all coming at me at once. And I 100% believe now that it was my wish to actually have a death experience. I created that death experience. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but I believe with all my heart that I did because I needed to give myself permission to just reset everything and start over in a bunch of different areas and aspects of my life. And that's exactly what I did. So there's a big story that I didn't intend to share. I didn't cry. That's pretty good, right? But it's what drives me and moves me forward, because I understand with 100% certainty the power of our thinking and our beliefs and our mind, our conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. So if it weren't for the superconscious, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. If it weren't for, I guess, if it weren't for a whole lot of things, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. And some very fine, a very fine employee of the business at the time, who's now gone on to do much greater things. I think if you save somebody's life, that changes you almost as much as if you have a death experience. And I will be forever grateful to him and to the police officer and the first responders that showed up on the scene. I heard there was lots of drama going on, so it's a miracle in so many ways. So today our topic is bad beliefs. What are bad beliefs or limiting beliefs? They are beliefs that don't serve us, that are actually not good for us. And they can be big and they can be small. Maybe they're like, oh, go eat that candy, eat that thing, it's not going to hurt you. And then, you just do it all the time, and all of a sudden you find out that you're diabetic. Try that chemical, it's not going to kill you, and lo and behold, you get a laced thing and you die. Or lo and behold, you have a really bad experience, or you get in an accident. There's all kinds of things that can happen to us. But any belief that isn't in our best interest and doesn't serve us, and I could tell some stories about this and about AI impacting people. I heard a horrible story from my son yesterday that just, it blows my mind. And it's why I've been so cautious about artificial intelligence and using it in my life. But I have determined that I need to use it as an assistant to do the things that are hard for me to do now that I'm legally blind. I don't always tell people that either. Boy, it's confession day. But I need, I'm not capable of physically editing videos. That's why what you see is what you get. And I've got to come to terms with some of those limitations and say, all right, what can help me? So I could hire a whole team of people to do that. I could hire an agency to do that. Or I can train an AI agent in Claude these days. I just learned this, to do the technical parts of posting and editing videos that I'm not capable of doing. Will that improve my content? Oh, I'm sure it totally will. It won't always be what you see is what you get. It'll be what you see is me, but a little cleaned up. So let's talk about these beliefs. Obviously, mental blocks are limiting beliefs. Anything that's blocking us from getting what we want, I say is bad, right? Because we all want what we want. We want to be able to identify those and then do something about them. We can't do anything, and I just said can't, which I never say. We do not have the ability to do anything about something that we won't allow ourselves to be aware of. So I challenge you to go on a journey of identifying these things for yourself. And you know what they are if you just ask your brain to tell you, because you're thinking them all the time and every day. I had the horrifying realization that the month leading up to my sudden cardiac arrest, the number one question I was asking myself was WTF. Hope you know what WTF is, because I'm not going to say it. But I literally, after that event, made T-shirts with that on it. And every day when I went for a walk, I would not every day, but some days I would wear one of those T-shirts. And I got the funniest looks. But you know what? It was part of my way of removing that from my vocabulary and my automatic process of asking questions. But that whole month, WTF, 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 because things just kept happening that I couldn't even believe were happening and stacking on top of each other. And again, like I said, not in just one area of my life, but there were several areas of my life imploding simultaneously. And it was more than my little red wagon wanted me to have to handle. All right, so what are we going to do today? I challenge you to identify at least one of these beliefs that, and I guarantee when you formed the thoughts and beliefs, it was in your best interest at the time. But guess what? We're changing all the time. So what served me when I was 6 or 8 or 10 or 15 probably no longer serves me, right? So if it was a belief that happened at a significant emotional event, and I can actually think of some of those now that I just said that happened when I was like 14 or 15, that I have been carrying with me for 5 more, okay, that would be 13. 5 more generations, 5 more decades, not generations, 5 more decades that I I have never needed to be carrying with me. So, how do we change these limiting beliefs? Maybe we'll spend a whole day or do a workshop on this. That's how important this is. Because until we get our beliefs and our vision right, and the way we see ourselves and our identity, we can do all this work in the world and nothing's going to change. Boy, that's a downer note. Everything's going to change because we have the ability and the personal power to change anything and everything we want. Okay, so what are we going to share? Share in the comments below one mental block that you identified today. You don't have to say that you fixed it, just what is one that you noticed? Because the first step in anything, in any change, is becoming aware of something. All right, I'm going to stop talking now. I've definitely gone off the rails with this topic. It is a huge topic. We could literally spend an entire week talking about and doing exercises with respect to limiting beliefs. There are great books, there are great resources on this. If you need one, if you want to go more in depth, if you want to run through one limiting belief with me, I will say yes. Give me a call or just text bad belief in the comments below, and I'll reach out to you and we'll find some time that we can do it. I am doing a launch right now, so it'll be a crazy time, but I will find, we can do it in 5 minutes or less. I will find 5 minutes and we will get together on the phone and take care of this once and for all. And I say once and for all, but let's be honest. I have limiting beliefs that I've had since childhood that I think I've resolved, and they will still pop up. They usually pop up when I'm trying something new and I'm stretching my comfort zone. And the same thing will happen to you. That is how we grow. That is how we become the best possible version of ourselves. That is how we supersize you, and I supersize me too. All right, have an awesome day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.